Andrew from #events. I run business shows all over the UK and have done for the last dozen or so years. Things like Expo Scotland, we've run that 21 times, Expo Northwest in Bury and Greater Manchester, and in business shows in Chester, Warrington, all down the M6 corridor as far as Wolverhampton, and across to Norwich in the east and Belfast and Dublin in the west. So in that time, I've seen about 2,600 companies exhibit at one of our shows somewhere. And of course, you see the great and the good, and unfortunately, you see the bad and the ugly. And I won't name any names, but what I wanted to do is just share some points of order, some advice, and some hints and tips, so that if you're ever thinking of going to any trade show, not necessarily one of mine, ways you can get something positive out of it. The first thing to say is that when you're going to a trade show, I see an awful lot of people who think very hard about the decision to book, the money that they're going to invest in booking their stand and all the other good stuff that goes with it, but then they spend almost no time and no money on preparing for the big day. And of course, what they then do is they arrive on the day and expect, because they've paid a fee of Y pounds, that they're going to get Z number of leads out of it, and that they're going to make untold wealth from simply turning up, which of course is rubbish. There is so much effort needs to go in, even to a small, inexpensive event, to get the right outcome. So the first thing to do is think about what you're going to do to make sure that on the day you've got people to speak to. And that starts with you, not just a show organizer, inviting people to come. You have a client list, you have a prospect list, you have people that you're connected to on LinkedIn, maybe on Facebook, whichever other channels you use for communication. So first of all, for event organizers, say, have you got any images, social media posts that I can use, or footers for my emails, so that I can let everybody know I'm going to be at this event on this day, and you can find me on this stand number, come and talk to me. You wouldn't have a party without inviting people, and you need to treat your stand as the party zone. Get people to come and visit you. Now remember, there's only two people you can sell to, two categories of people you can sell to, and that's new clients and your existing clients. Sell them more. And the second group are much easier to sell to than new clients. So why not look on LinkedIn, filter it, it's really easy to do, by people who live within, say, 30 or 40 miles of a venue, and send them an email to say, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods 2 weeks on Tuesday. Come and have a coffee, meet the team, look at our latest products or services, come and talk to us, even just if it's purely social. Reinvigorate that connection that you already have. Secondly, consider, if you've got something groundbreaking to shout about, spending a couple of £100 on getting a press release done, a professional written press release, which must come with a great photograph. Nobody will publish a press release without imagery, and nobody will publish it without good imagery and expect results. So think about getting a great photograph taken to go with a great, well, professionally written piece of copy that you can push out. There are lots of freelance PR people out there who are very inexpensive, who can do an awesome job getting some PR put together for you. Get it out, same reason as you send the invites, generate awareness. So let's assume that there's lots of people coming, you've got some people coming to see you, you maybe have pre-booked appointments at a given time. Plan your objectives. What are you going to try to get out of the day? Do you want to just get your brand out? Do you want to meet specific people? Are you looking to sell particular products at a particular price to a particular audience? Whatever your objective is, plan and prepare for it. Make sure your staff, your team, even if it's just yourself, that you're geared up for success. So that means that if there are even other exhibitors that you think are your A1 clients, spend some time before the show connecting with them on LinkedIn, researching who the right people are, find out what makes them tick. Who do they buy from now? Do they shout about it on social media? Do some homework so you're planning for success. Make sure that your mindset is right. Your mindset has to be one of winning, not just turning up to see what happens. You need a clear goal. I need 20 prospects or business cards today, because I know that from that 20, because I'm a smart business owner and I know my numbers, that will produce 8 meetings. And from those 8 meetings, 4 will ask for a proposal and 2 will close, or whatever your numbers are. But have a clear, manageable, realistic expectation of what the day should bring for you and your business. You know how much you've paid, you know how much your product is, you should know what your margin is. What do you need to do to make this a profitable exercise, not just break even, profitable, to get a great return on investment? Because it isn't just the cost of buying the stand. It's however many people are going to be there for however many hours and whatever revenue they would have otherwise generated. What are they costing you? Factor it all in, and then go in with a really bright, ambitious, optimistic, and outgoing, if you can, mindset. So on the day, you would be surprised how many people turn up late. How many people forget to bring the basics like a pen, or the power pack for their laptop, or a charger for their phone, or an extension lead. All things you should have in a little bag or box that are go with you to every event. You need to make sure that if you're getting that old laptop out to take the run of PowerPoint on, that you've turned it on at least a day before and done all of those lovely Windows updates or Microsoft updates. Make sure you've got the right version of PowerPoint or Prezi or whatever else you're using installed on the laptop. Make sure that when you turn it on in the morning, it isn't just going to sit like a brick for 3 hours updating itself. You'd be shocked how many people get the laptop out that they don't normally use and then cannot use it because they didn't prepare. Duct tape, sticky tape, sellotape, a notepad, a stapler, all pennies, but critical ingredients to success. Because if you haven't got one, you're stuffed. And not all the time will you be able to find someone you can scrounge these things from to make your day workable. So prepare. Get there in good time. Get the stand set up. Look at it from all angles. Where are people walking from who are going to see your stand? Make sure your banner stands or pop-ups or displays are angled to catch the eye of the casual passerby. A psychology item here. I'm not a great psychologist or reader of people's minds, but what I have learned through other people far wiser than me is that when you take your lovely brand new box of leaflets that you've just paid 50 quid for and got the day before, and of course you've proofread them, you haven't just set them all out in a beautiful fan across your desk. So what most people do. That's a problem, because psychologists have told me that when there's a beautiful pattern, people don't like to go and pick one up and break the pattern. So if you do have to make a pattern, have a stack of them at the side or in a little leaflet dispenser for people to take. Better still, have your little clipboard or notebook in your hand with the leaflets on the back ready to hand to someone. When you're designing the leaflet, make it really simple. Make it bold and something that's going to catch the eye and stick in the mind of the person who receives it. And a great tool that I learned was that if you make your leaflet a narrative of you and your business, you can hold it out, show someone, and talk through all the bullet points on the leaflet. You don't have to remember them all. You'll miss one, that's a guarantee. That's your script. And when they take it away, of course, it reinforces what you've just said to them. It will stick in the mind. When you're getting leads, what do most people do? Well, if they're suited and booted, what they do is they take a business card, they have a conversation. Yes, yes, absolutely, that's fabulous. So we're going to talk about this, you're going to buy that. And then the person walks away and someone else comes up. And in 10 minutes' time, you're standing looking at a business card and you can't remember all of the information. So you write it on the business card, you try to scratch it onto a laminated business card with a Duff biro, and you shove it in your suit pocket. And tomorrow you have no clue what it was you were meant to do, who they were, where they came from. Have a lead sheet, have a lead generation sheet. Who are you? Where do you work? What are you interested in? What have I promised to do for you? And any other relevant comments. Super important. Likewise, this isn't for texting the kids on the day or ringing your mates or checking the news. It's so you can have LinkedIn open. And when they come up to you and you say, are you on LinkedIn? Yeah, let's find your profile together. I'll connect with you right now. Right now. Have your LinkedIn open on the Find People Near Me page, because you can then encourage people to just turn that on their phone and connect with them automatically to find them as they wander around. So come on to the biggest piece of advice I can give. Most exhibitors view the people who walk by as their targets. Wrong. They're one of your targets. The biggest targets is who do they know? Now, I know from research at my events, and I'm sure others are similar, 82% of my delegates are decision makers. 82%. 4 out of every 5 people who walk past could say yes. So you think, well, that means 1 in 5 is a duffer. No, not at all. If I have 500 people come to my event and walk through the door, so the first off is that's 400 people who are decision makers you can talk to. That's a lot of people to have a conversation with. But more importantly, LinkedIn tell us that the average person on LinkedIn knows by name someone they could pick up the phone to and they'd recognize you and they'd take a call. 432 people. That's the current average today as the time of recording this. So that means that of those 400 people who are decision makers, and they all know 432 people, that's 172,800 connections you could make just meeting 400 people. 172,800. That's not to be sniffed at. If someone offered you a marketing campaign and the cost of being there was the price of a stand and your reach was 172,000 people, you'd take the hand off. But it will only happen if you actually reach out, if you actually connect, if you actually make that a meaningful connection, and if you are, importantly, prepared to follow through and follow up right after the show, sometimes during the show. I used to go to a trade show in New York for lawyers, really big hitting, expensive customers who've got a lot of money to spend. And there were usually a lot of people on the stand. And someone used to act as the catcher. They used to get all of the leads, document them, write them up, and they used to pass them to someone who used to quickly go through them and say, that's an A1 target. They'd jump on the mobile and say, hey, Andrew, are you still walking around the show? Do you fancy a coffee? I'd love to meet you. Swing by the stand again. And you take them off to the coffee shop for a meaningful one-to-one. And you'd all report back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they'd make the decision, who's staying over in town tonight? Who's an A1 client prospect? Let's ring them up and take them out to dinner. Let's buy them a steak or whatever it is you want to do. And you'd get a phone call about 4 o'clock. That's if you had the charm. Saying, hey, what are you doing tonight? Are you still in town? Are you staying at the hotel? Why don't we go for dinner? We'd love to have you along as our guests. And then you've got them for 3 hours sitting at a table, wining and dining them. And even if you don't close the deal, you find out everything you need to know to make it happen. So whether you're a one-person business or you're the biggest company in the world, it all requires planning. It all requires organization, execution, and the mindset to succeed, to be good on the day, to be good beforehand, setting up success for the day, but really crucially to follow up afterwards and nail the opportunities that you've just paid your hard-earned money to have in front of you. Remember, you're not booking a trade show or an exhibition to be given a lead, to be given a sale. You're paying for a small piece of real estate that's probably about 4 to 6 square meters to set up camp and run your sales operation for one day, usually. So don't muck it up by just turning up and sitting there, sucking your thumb. I see people sitting behind the table, reading their phone. You feel like you're interrupting them. And of course, what happens psychologically, you're on a different level. You're standing up, they're sitting down. There's an uneasiness about that. Get in front of the table. Don't sit down. You don't need to sit down. You can manage for one day unless you've got some medical issue. Get in front of the table, and every single person that walks by, put your hand out. Hi, I'm Andrew. How do you do? What brings you to the show today? What are you looking for? What business are you in?